So first of all, what are alkenes? Alkenes are organic compounds containing carbon-carbon single bonds and carbon-hydrogen bonds. Okay, so first of all, alkenes are hydrocarbons that make up most of the crude oil and natural gas. In alkane molecules, every carbon atom forms 4 single covalent bonds. So Tumraki, you know about carbon, right? Which group does carbon belong to?
Group 4.
Group 4. So since carbon belongs to group 4, each carbon can have 4 bonds. Each carbon can have 4 bonds. So ekhane dekho, this is a 1 carbon alkane. What do we call a 1 carbon alkane?
Methane.
Methane. So what do we call a 1 carbon? What do we call a 1 carbon alkane?
Methane.
Methane. Okay. A 2 carbon alkene.
Ethane.
Ethane. So 1, 2. So therefore, even if when it's a 2 carbon alkane, even when it's a 2 carbon alkane, so ekhane dekho je each carbon has 4 different bonds, or 4 bonds. 1, 2, 3, 4. Same goes for this. 1, 2, 3, 4. So from here we can see that each carbon can have 4 different covalent bonds, or it can bond to 4 other atoms. So এই জন্য আমাদের সবসময় whenever we draw an organic compound, we have to ensure that each carbon has 4 bonds. For example, alkene দেখো, although there's 2 hydrogen bonded, but এখানে কিন্তু it has 2 bonds. So the total number of bonds around this carbon atom is 1, 2, 3, and 4. The total number of carbon atoms around this is 4. So in case of alkanes or alkenes or alcohols or any organic compound, we have to remember that every carbon atom forms 4 single. Achha, 4 single na, ekhane for alkanes it's 4 single bonds, but generally each carbon can form 4 covalent bonds. Each carbon can form 4 covalent bonds. Achha. The alkanes are non-polar molecules with only weak intermolecular forces. What is the name of this weak intermolecular force?
So weak van der Waals forces.
Very good.
Van der Waals.
Weak van der Waals forces. So the alkanes are non-polar molecules with only weak intermolecular forces between the molecules. Therefore, they are volatile and insoluble in water. Volatile and insoluble in water. Achha. So why are they non-polar? মানে তোমরা যারা রেগুলারলি ক্লাস করছো, if you remember, আমি তোমাদেরকে পড়াইছিলাম যে why molecules are soluble and why molecules are insoluble. Do you remember? Any of you?
No, sir, I don't remember.
Achha. So hydrogen is bonded to oxygen and hydrogen. This is a water molecule. And একটা alkane is like this: carbon, hydrogen. So hydrogen এর এখানে কি আছে? What does hydrogen have here? A charge. What does oxygen have here? A charge. So for you people, একটা জিনিস just for you to remember, ধরো যে if you have a fluorine, oxygen, আচ্ছা এত কিছু তোমাদের দরকার নেই। Remember যে if you have oxygen bonded to anybody else, তাহলে তোমার একটা charge থাকবে. Do you have any oxygen bonded here in methane?
No, sir.
So that's why it doesn't have charge and it's not soluble in water. On the other hand, তুমি একটা অ্যালকোহলের কথা চিন্তা করো, CH3OH. So এখানে is oxygen bonded to hydrogen?
Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
So oxygeনের একটা নেগেটিভ চার্জ আছে আর হাইড্রোজেনের একটা পজিটিভ চার্জ আছে, right?
Ji, sir.
So
Yes.
in water, oxygen has a negative charge, hydrogen has a positive charge. In alcohol, oxygen has a negative charge, hydrogen has a positive charge. So we know that opposite charges attract each other. So ধরো যে এই যে opposite charge attraction হচ্ছে, opposite charge attraction হচ্ছে।
Yes, sir.
So due to this attraction, alcohols are soluble in water. But is it possible for alkanes to have these charges? Or does alkanes have these charges?
No, sir.
No. So since alkenes do not have these charges, therefore they are not soluble in water. Also alkenes, does alkenes have oxygen?
No, sir.
No.
No, sir.
So since alkenes do not have oxygen, will alkenes be soluble?
No, sir.
No, alkenes will not be soluble. Alcohols, does it have oxygen or not?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. So since alcohol has oxygen, it will be soluble in water. ঠিক আছে? Carboxylic acid, does it have oxygen?
Yes, sir.
Carboxylic acid has oxygen. Will it be soluble or insoluble?
Soluble, sir.
Soluble. শেষ। তাহলে আর মুখস্থ করার দরকার আছে?
Sir.
না। আচ্ছা, so alkenes are non-polar molecules with only weak intermolecular forces between the molecules. So next thing is they have weak intermolecular forces. So will they have a high melting and boiling point or a low melting and boiling point?
So
They
low.
they have weak intermolecular forces. So will they have a high melting and boiling point or a low melting and boiling point?
Low.
Low melting and boiling point.
Oh.
Very good. They will have a low melting and boiling point. Low melting and boiling point. Okay. Next is Umran. Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, this low melting and boiling point. Low melting point and boiling. So, what a low melting and boiling point depends on what? Or melting and boiling point for a covalent compound depends on what?
Intermolecular force.
Intermolecular.
Who just answered that?
Okay, so intermolecular forces. Next question, J. Intermolecular forces again depends on what?
The number of atoms the molecule has.
Very good. Number of atoms present. Number of atoms present. So carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3, carbon 4, carbon 5, carbon 6, carbon 7, carbon 8. Atif,
Sir.
as the number of carbon atoms increases, melting and boiling point would increase or decrease?
Sir, increase.
Why?
Sir, the forces between the carbon atom get stronger as the carbon atom, the number of carbon atom increases.
Major conceptual problem. Major conceptual problem. Intermolecular force মানে কি? What do you understand by intermolecular force? Can you see a diagram here?
Yes, sir.
এটা কি? What is this? This is a drawing of an organic compound. Which organic compound? Let's see. These are carbons. Carbon 1, carbon 2, carbon 3. And these are hydrogens. H. আচ্ছা আমরা লাল ডট দেই. The red dots are hydrogens.
Yes, sir.
The red dots are hydrogen. So now the question is, how many carbons are here?
3.
And how many hydrogens?
8.
So this is a C3H8. What is the name of this compound?
Propane.
Propane. Very good. So Atif, listen. তুমি যে বলছো যে the bonds are between the carbon atoms. তার মানে you're indicating this bond, right? The one I showed as an arrow.
Yes.
Is this an intermolecular force?
Oh, no. No, sir.
What is this?
Sir. Sir, this is intermolecular force.
Does everybody agree with him?
No, because that's one molecule. So the forces of attraction should be between the molecules.
Acha, let's not go there. Let's. What is the name of the bond I showed as an arrow?
These are the bonds between the carbon.
Yeah. What is the name of that bond?
Covalent.
Covalent bond.
Covalent.
Exactly. So this is a covalent bond. Atif, did you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is another molecule, suppose. This is another molecule. So intermolecular forces is basically between two molecules. এই দুইটা মলিকিউলের ভিতরে যে আমি অরেঞ্জ লাইন যেগুলো দিচ্ছি না, These are intermolecular forces.
Oh.
Inter, mane between molecules, intermolecular forces.
বুঝছি।
Buchho? So intermolecular forces, the intermolecular forces depends on what?
Number of atoms.
Number of atoms.
Atom.
So a molecule moddhe total you have 11 atoms. Ekhaneo same 11 atoms. But amra jodi if we do an atom of like CH4 and a CH4, how many atoms are there in this atom, this molecule?
10.
5. How many do you have here?
Oh, sir, 5 or 5?
5 or 5. So methane এর মধ্যে যে intermolecular force থাকবে আর propane এর মধ্যে যে intermolecular force থাকবে, would they have the same strength or different?
Different.
Different attraction. Who's gonna have a stronger force of attraction?
Propane.
Propane. So এই জন্য propane has a higher melting and boiling point. It has a greater density. It is less viscous. Sorry, it has more viscous. More viscous. Viscosity mane holo how close the molecules are. Just a moment. How close the molecules are. So tarmane if we compare propane and if we compare octane, propane is 3 carbon, octane is 8 carbon. Who's gonna have a more viscous fluid?
Octane.
Octane. Octane is gonna have a more viscous fluid. So are you people clear about this thing? Intermolecular forces?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So amra tale let's clear this out. তাহলে ফিজিক্যাল প্রপার্টিজ আর তোমাদের মুখস্থ করার কিছু নাই তাহলে আচ্ছা এটাই তো হ্যাঁ so see from here we can see that as the number of carbon atoms are increasing, what happens to the state? It's changing, right? From gas to liquid to then solid. Naphtha jemon, naphtha is solid. Sorry, naphtha bole. Bitumen is solid. So that also shows us that the melting and boiling point also increases with increase in the number of carbon atoms, right? Number of your melting and boiling point increases with increase in the number of carbon atoms. So now do you know the explanation? So who can tell me the explanation now? Why does the melting and boiling point increase as the number of carbon atoms increases?
So intermolecular force increases.
Intermolecular forces increases. Very good. Intermolecular forces increases. Everybody else, is everybody clear about this? So why does density also increase? Because since you have more number of atoms per volume, therefore the density also increases. Again, it was a gas. So gas e dhoro je, if this is a container, you had like one on this end and one on this end. You had just 2 atoms or 2 molecules on this container. Now, when it changes to liquid, you have more regularly arranged atoms. And then, if you have a solid, They're closely packed, right? The molecules are closely packed. So obviously, gas at J density, it's less than liquid. Our liquid density is less than solid, right?
Yes, sir.
So as the number of carbon atoms increases, melting and boiling point increases, density increases, flammability আমি বলছিলাম it decreases. Flammability becomes less flammable. So I'll fix it. So any questions from here? Any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, so these are about the physical properties of alkanes. We'll just go through. So as molecules get longer and longer, the intermolecular force increases. So the melting and boiling points rise as the number of carbon atoms. As the number of carbon atoms per molecule increases. We call them saturated hydrocarbon because no more atoms can be added to the molecules. Saturated. So we know that each carbon has 4 different carbon. Each carbon can bond to up to 4 other atoms, or it can give rise to 4 bonds with 4 other atoms. Alkane, they are already bonded to 4 other atoms. এখানে 1 2 3 4. So is there any room for other atoms to come in and get bonded?
No.
Nah.
No, sir.
No, because this carbon is already bonded to 4 other atoms, right? This carbon is already bonded to 4 other atoms. So ejonno there's no way other atoms can come in and get bonded. So therefore we call this compound a saturated hydrocarbon or saturated organic compound. Any questions? So is everybody clear why we call them a saturated hydrocarbon?
Yes, sir.
Acha, we'll just go through. Dekho, the first 4 members of the alkenes homologous series are gases. Alkanes with 5 to 17 carbon atoms in their chain are liquids. Alkanes with more than 17 carbon atoms in their chains are solids. The boiling points of alkanes vary in a regular way. Next is the chemical properties. So what is the difference between a physical property and a chemical property? What is the difference?
The chemical is how it reacts, and
Physical
The
holo?
physical property depends upon
how it behaves.
appearance.
Sanida, we couldn't listen to you properly. Bolo.
Ji sir.
বুঝি নাই তোমার কথা।
So physical properties mainly appearance এর উপর depend করে না?
Physical properties holo appearance, হ্যাঁ, what we can see,
Yeah.
right? Or
Yes.
how does it look? How does it look? ওর চেহারা কেমন? That's physical. আমাদের চেহারা কেমন? That's our physical appearance, right? Our chemical properties holo যে how they react chemically. How does it behave with other chemicals? That's our chemical property. So chemical property ওদের দুইটা আছে. They have 2 chemical properties. একটা হলো combustion and the other one is reaction with a halogen. So combustion reaction মানে কি? What does combustion reaction mean? আচ্ছা আমরা will switch to a whiteboard. তাহলে আমার মনে হয় it's going to be better. What is a combustion reaction?
Where carbon dioxide is produced.
Burning.
Burning in
Oxygen.
burning in oxygen. Burning in oxygen. So combustion reaction can be again of two types. একটা হলো complete combustion. Complete combustion. Actually incomplete combustion. So what does complete combustion mean?
তো যেখানে ফুয়েলটা পুরোপুরি অক্সিজেনে বার্ন করে
হ্যাঁ মানে where excess oxygen is present. Excess oxygen is present and all hydrocarbons are completely used up. So always remember alkanes or alkenes or alcohols or carboxylic acids or ester or any hydrocarbon, whatever the thing is, they will always burn in oxygen to give us carbon dioxide plus water. Clear? Next one is an incomplete combustion. Incomplete combustion. So incomplete combustion মানে কি? Where there is limited supply of oxygen. Limited supply of oxygen. Limited supply of oxygen. So limited supply of oxygen যদি হয় তখন কি হবে? Alkanes with limited supply of oxygen কি দিবে তোমাদেরকে বা আমাদেরকে কি দেয়?
Carbon monoxide.
Carbon monoxide.
monoxide plus water or carbon plus water. এই কার্বনটা is known as soot. SOOT. It's known as soot.
স্যার ইকুয়েশন দেখে কেমনে বুঝতে পারবো অক্সিজেন এক্সেস নাকি না?
Good question. So তোমরা তো জাদুঘর না, so তোমাদেরকে বলে দিবে obviously যে if there's limited oxygen or there's excess oxygen. Got it?
স্যার
স্যার বাট একটা কোয়েশ্চেন আছে
হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্যার লিমিটেড হলে তো কার্বন আর ওয়াটারও হচ্ছে আবার কার্বন মনোক্সাইড আর ওয়াটার হচ্ছে, তাহলে কেমনে বুঝবো কোনটা?
লিমিটেড হলে
কার্বন মনোক্সাইড প্লাস ওয়াটারও হচ্ছে আবার কার্বন প্লাস ওয়াটার হচ্ছে, তাহলে কখন কোনটা হবে?
ও আচ্ছা কখন কোনটা হবে? সো ওরা যদি বলে a gas is formed তাহলে কার্বন মনোক্সাইড, ওরা যদি বলে একটা সলিড is formed তাহলে এটা this is carbon. If they ask you, if they say that there are gas is formed তার মানে it's carbon monoxide. If they say that solid is formed তার মানে it's carbon soot. Clear?
Yep.
Next is question number 2 is reaction with halogen. So halogen এর কথা কি আমরা বলেছিলাম না? What are halogens? Group 7
7.
elements. Group 7 elements. Fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. So এটা যে কোনোটা দিয়েই হতে পারে. But we'll take chlorine as an example because it's the most common. So Ishmam,
Yes, sir.
what type of a molecule is chlorine?
Halogen.
What type?
Non-metal.
মানে ওর স্ট্রাকচারটা কি? What is the structure of a chlorine molecule?
The gas is equivalent. So non-metal.
আচ্ছা আরো precise
Sir, can I say it?
Yes,
Sir, diatomic.
very good. It's a diatomic molecule. Chlorine is a diatomic molecule. So this is a chlorine atom with a chlorine atom.
Sir, aren't they covalently bonded?
হ্যাঁ, ওইটা তো আমরা molecule is a diatomic molecule. আর এই ক্লোরিন আর এই ক্লোরিনের মধ্যে what type of bond is this?
Covalent.
Covalent bond. Atif, is this intermolecular force?
Sir, covalent.
Covalent.
Sir.
Good. So তোমার conception hopefully clear হয়েছে. আচ্ছা. So এই covalent bond ভাঙতে you need 242 kilojoule per mole energy. 242 kilojoule per mole energy. Okay? So somebody has to provide you with this amount of energy. সেটা কে দেয়? Who gives it?
Heat.
Heat. From?
Heat.
From whom?
Sun burner.
Sun burner?
Bunsen burner.
Bunsen burner?
Bunsen burner.
না.
And then
এটা তো আমরা
চুলা।
আমরা ল্যাবরেটরিতে করি না। এই হিটটা দেয় হলো সানলাইট। সানলাইট or UV লাইট। সানলাইট লিখলেও তোমরা ঠিক আছো, UV লাইট লিখলেও তোমাদের আনসার ইজ ওকে। সো UV লাইট ভেঙে ফেললো, ভেঙে এটাকে দুইটা আলাদা আলাদা ক্লোরিন অ্যাটম বানালো। নেক্সট হলো, what is the name of this compound?
Methane.
Methane. Okay, good. So when methane reacts with a chlorine molecule, what happens?
স্যার ওই যে ওই ক্লোরিনটা ইয়া করে
Plus H.
ওই যে হাইড্রোজেনের সাথে রিপ্লেস হয়।
One of the hydrogen is replaced by one of a chlorine. আর এখানে যে হাইড্রোজেনটা ছিল, what happens? It forms HCl with another remaining chlorine. Clear?
Yes.
তাহলে এই যে reaction with halogen, এখানে কি হচ্ছে? Is it being added or removed or substituted?
স্যার সাবস্টিটিউট।
Substituted. এর জন্য we call this a substitution. substitution
reaction.
তাহলে alkanes always undergo what type of reaction? Substitution reaction. Substitution reaction. So alkanes always undergo substitution reaction. Okay, Numa.
Yes, sir.
Why does it go undergo substitution reaction? Why not addition reaction?
So because they have single bonds, like carbon-carbon single bonds.
Saturated.
No, that's not the answer. Devasri.
Sir, it has a strong the intermolecular force, so saturation is, I think so.
আচ্ছা intermolecular forces সাথে কিছু না, but হ্যাঁ they are saturated compounds. They are saturated. তাহলে আমরা ফার্স্টে পড়েছিলাম যে since they are saturated compounds they cannot add anything, right? So আজকে তোমার আমাদের ধরো যে in a classroom তোমাদের যদি একটা ক্লাসরুমে there are like 20 chairs, and if there is already 20 students present in that class and suddenly there is one new student who got admitted to the class, can you accommodate that new student into the class? No. Why? Because you have 20 chairs and now you have 21 students. How would you accommodate the new student? By replacing someone from the old student. বুঝতে পারছি? So substitution reaction is because they're already saturated. And they cannot take in any more new atoms. Substitution reaction. So therefore alkanes undergo substitution reaction because they are saturated hydrocarbons. Alkanes undergo substitution reaction because they are saturated compounds. Clear? প্রতীক বুঝছো?
Yes, sir.
আচ্ছা, next is এখানে দেখো যে we have substituted one of the hydrogens. So this is my first step. Second step কি হবে? Second step would be we start off with the product. CH3 plus will give us CH. What has happened? First step, one hydrogen was replaced with a chlorine. Second step, oh sorry, আমি একটা ভুল জিনিস লিখছি। Second step, one more hydrogen has been replaced. তাহলে third step কি হবে? Third step arekta hydrogen will be replaced. Fourth step, all the hydrogens will be replaced by chlorine. Clear? Clear, everyone? So
Yes, sir.
এই জিনিসটাকে আমরা কি বলি? সাবস্টিটিউশন রিঅ্যাকশন। সো তোমাদের একটা জিনিস মনে রাখতে হবে যে তুমি ডাইরেক্টলি একটা স্টেপে in one step you cannot directly convert or replace all the hydrogens with chlorine. You have to go step by step. So দেখো আমাদের starting product কি ছিল? This was our starting, right? Starting, and then we got this as a product. তারপর next step কিন্তু we are not starting with the initial starting product. What are we starting with? The product from the first step. দেখো we are starting with the product from the first step.
So sir, it reacts with more chlorine. তারপরে দুইটা ক্লোরিন সাবস্টিটিউট হয়।
হ্যাঁ, তাহলে থার্ড স্টেপে কি হবে? এই সেকেন্ড স্টেপের যে প্রোডাক্টটা পেলাম আমরা, the product we get on the second step, সেটা will again react with more chlorine to replace
all the hydrogen.
No, third step এই একটা হাইড্রোজেন চলে যাবে and chlorine will come in. Fourth step আরেকটা হাইড্রোজেন will go out and chlorine will come in. So step by step. So তোমার যদি আজকে 10টা হাইড্রোজেন থাকে, if you have 10 hydrogens, how many steps would you need to remove all the hydrogens?
10.
You need 10 steps to remove all the hydrogen. Remove na, substitute all the hydrogens with chlorine. So eta tumra eke now we are done with alkanes.